Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The Hurricane Watch Team is here with the update on Cyclone 18S, now posing a major threat for Western Australia. And we'll be talking about the impacts it'll be bringing to Western Australia, plus our forecast track. Let's get right into the video. Alright, let's get right into this and talk a little bit about what we're dealing with this specific system. So, this is Tropical Storm 18S. Currently, maximum sustained winds are at 50 miles per hour. We're seeing that air pressure at 998 millibars, 13.4 degrees south, 122.2 degrees east, which brings it just to the northwest of northwestern Australia. So, what we're dealing with this system, as you can see, we're seeing some clockwise rotation at the low levels of the storm, and at the upper levels, seeing counterclockwise rotation at the upper levels. That's outflow. So with this system, you can see lots of deep thunderstorm convection near the center of circulation, which shows that there is a lot of thunderstorm activity, a lot of convection, and the storm is trying to get its act together. As this continues to happen, we'll see more thunderstorms and outer rain bands affecting the coastlines of northwestern Australia. This will continue to intensify, become bigger, more powerful, and a much more well-developed tropical cyclone overall as it begins to approach its area of landfall in northwestern Australia. So the next thing I want to look at is our forecast track from here. We got winds around 50 miles an hour there. We got 12 hours 65, 24 hours 85 miles an hour, 36 hours 105 miles an hour. Category 2 hurricane right there, equivalent. 2 days from now will be 125 miles an hour, Category 3 on the Saffir-Simpson hurricane wind scale. And then there you go, 140 miles an hour and 60 hours, which brings it to a Category 4 on the Saffir-Simpson hurricane wind scale. And there it is, 72 hours out from now, 150 miles an hour. And we believe once it makes landfall, we could be seeing those winds upwards of 150 miles per hour upon landfall there in northwestern Australia. Strong winds, tornadoes are possible. Flooding is going to be the biggest hazard with this. It's going to be bringing in storm surge. So you're going to be dealing with saltwater flooding along the immediate coastline. You're going to be dealing with rainfall. Very heavy amounts of rain in a very short period of time. So you're going to have freshwater rainfall. So those would be the biggest threats are going to be flooding. That's going to be the biggest threat. Your other biggest threats are going to be tornadoes in the outer rain bands, and also dealing with those moderately strong, almost tornado force winds at that point, 150 mile per hour sustained winds there near the eye wall. We could be seeing gusts 170, maybe as high as 190 mile an hour wind gusts. So intense damage expected to roofs. Entire homes could be destroyed, especially mobile homes, and completely obliterated instantaneously once it sees those winds of 150 plus miles per hour. Gusts upwards of 180, 190 miles an hour. Crops will be damaged if there are any in this area. You'll be dealing with vegetation loss. Any animals outside will die. They simply cannot sustain and survive in these, especially when you get flying debris, pieces of tin, pieces of metal, pieces of 2x4s flying by at 30, 40, 50 miles per hour. It'd go right through a car. You get any flying debris flying in the air, especially the light and smaller ones that are more deadly, more like almost like missiles. Some of those can reach speeds of 100 plus miles per hour flying through the air, and they can kill anything in its path. It's very, very dangerous. So this is what we're looking at here. So prepare yourself. You should be already preparing yourself with charging your batteries up, having a generator ready if you're going to stay, boarding up your windows, having medicine if you take any kind of medicine so you have enough medicine to get through the storm, having enough water, a gallon of water for every single person, having food that is not going to spoil, things that you can, like lots of water. Don't have anything that you need to refrigerate or use electricity to keep at a specific temperature. Do not have raw meat that you can cook because you will not be able to cook it. If you have a generator, that generator goes out, that food is going to spoil and it is going to stink in your house. It's not going to be something you're going to want to deal with. But make sure you have all the necessities that you need because this storm is going to be very, very dangerous. Also, if you have the means and have the ability to, please evacuate. That's going to save you the most amount of stress. We do have a cyclone watch right in this area from Cape, how do you pronounce that? Levique to Brome, but not including Brome. Just to the area of Brome, but not including the city of Brome. So we do got a cyclone watch here where we will be dealing with some of these winds later on in the future. We'll be continuing to closely monitor its forecast and talk a little bit more about it and doing satellite, and we'll be talking more and more about it, and we'll be doing a live stream about it when it does make landfall, whenever that may be. Dealing with the intensity winds, some of them are seeing 120 to 140 knots. Could be a potential, that'd be a catastrophe. 140 knots, 161 miles an hour, I believe. Shear is still relatively low, between 20 and 10 knots, about 10, 15 knots right there. But shortly after, it's going to skyrocket once it makes landfall. And it's going to, that's going to be the upper level jet stream, which is going to tear the storm completely apart. Sea surface temperatures remain relatively high here, as you can see, at 30 degrees Celsius or higher. So the sea surface temperatures at the surface are really hot, but that also goes down to a depth. That is known as oceanic heat content. And that is how warm the 26 degrees centigrade isotherm is, down to a depth of X amount of meters. Several hundred meters usually is what it is. Mid-level humidity is still slowly continuing to decrease, but what we're seeing is it's at 80% right now, about 80%. Anything really above 50% is good for powerful tropical cyclones. So even once it gets down there to between 50 and 60%, it's still relatively in a good environment to stay as a strong tropical cyclone. And then as you can see, this is where it's going to, the track is going to be. It's all the way up here. It's going to come all the way here and make landfall here in North and Western Australia. Those winds, again, could be upwards of 140, 150 miles an hour. And we'll continue to update y'all. It does seem like that track is taking a more of a different turn and a more of a western track, which means it's going to take an additional 3 to 6 hours longer to make landfall. Gives it more time to intensify. We'll continue to be watching this and keep making predictions. You can see all of our predictions there on Twitter. Links are going to be in the description below. So this is the GFS forecast. As you can see, here it is. It rapidly intensifies, definitely rapidly intensifies, and we could be seeing that landfall in the 920s, possibly. As you can see, 970, 960, 950, 940, 930, making landfall there, 923 millibars. For rain, this is going to be bad. Good news is a majority of the heaviest of the rain remains well off coast. But right in this area, right around immediate landfall, we could be seeing 150, 200 millimeters of rain. But roughly 50 to 100 millimeters of rain throughout the center of the forecast track, even into central Australia. Looking at the ensemble tracks, right here is where we're seeing where it's at its strongest there. It will rapidly intensify, winds well over 100 knots. So we're going to see a very strong storm, rapidly intensified. The ECENS is a little on the weaker side, literally saying winds are barely 20 knots, even though the Joint Typhoon Warning Center has already verified it at 45 knots. So that would at least be in the dark blues into the greens, and we're not really seeing that until it makes landfall. Here's some satellite imagery I want to talk a little bit about. As you can see with this satellite imagery, you can see lots of deep thunderstorm convection. If you look down here, you look at the colors. That's in the pink. That's about negative 80 to negative 90 degrees Celsius, which means it's very high up in the atmosphere. Very tall storm. So we're seeing bubbles. It's just bubbling up convection. So this storm is still trying to get itself together and still intensifying. You can see a bit of outflow right here. So it's allowing more air to breathe upwards into the center of that storm. And that's where we're getting a bubbling effect right now, that deep thunderstorm convection. More bubbling, as you can see here, off to the east there, more bubbling. We're going to continue to see this. You can see clockwise rotation right here, which means we do got that rotation going. Counterclockwise rotation at the upper levels where we're seeing that outflow moving away from the storm, bringing warm moisture up through the center and away from the storm. Up through the center and away through the storm. That's what we're seeing with this. And that's what we start to see with a lot of the most powerful systems like Irma, Katrina, Harvey, Maria, Ian, Ida, Typhoon Haiyan, Typhoon Tip in 1979. Hurricane Patricia, 2015, 215 miles per hour. That's really the most powerful hurricanes I can think of off the top of your head, had lots of outflow. And that's what we're seeing with this system. Here's some radar. Even in the radar, you can see a little bit of clockwise rotation here. Not a lot of heavy rain. We do have pockets of moderate rain, but generally light rain throughout the entire system. In terms of rain, we do have some rain moving along the coast right here, but nothing really heavy, and it's constantly moving. It's not stalling out, which is a very good sign. The rain is constantly moving. It's not stalling out. We're not seeing any training rain showers, which is where you'll get rain showers, let's say, coming on shore. Let's say there's a rain band setting up here, and it would just keep producing a lot of heavy rain in this area of Australia, or even this area. If there was just training thunderstorms, it would just be this area constantly getting battered by the same amount of rain for 100 millimeters an hour, 100 millimeters an hour, and that could happen 5-6 hours at a time. And that's another thing that happened with Harvey. We just kept getting these training thunderstorms moving right over Houston, and so when it all added up, some areas clocked in at over 60 inches when the storm was all said and done. I do want to thank our supporters. 2 people have given us $5 a month. Another person gave us $1 a month. We appreciate all the support that y'all give us. That kind of helps us be able to afford all the necessities like WSV3 and all the other necessities that we need to keep ourselves up. Just WSV3 alone costs $25 a month. There's 2 other subscriptions that we can get, and that would bring us in at $50 a month. If we don't want to have any kind of ads on YouTube, that's another $15 a month, $15 a month. So we're talking $60, $65 a month right there. So these will continuously, the more that we want to add on, the more expensive it's going to be, and the more we're going to have to work harder and harder and harder to keep up with those necessities. Financially, there's a lot that goes into keeping a YouTube channel like this up and going. Follow us on Twitter. Subscribe, like, and share on YouTube. Support us for only $1 a month on our Patreon page. All these links are going to be in the description below. Also, don't forget to join our Discord server. You can talk to me, myself, Aria, or any of the other moderators and team members who are part of the Hurricane Watch team. We will talk to you and talk to you about the effects that this tropical storm / cyclone will be giving you if you live in that area. We'll talk to you anything about any weather-related events. Ask us any kind of questions. We'll be there for you. Thank you for watching. That's me for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. This has been the Hurricane Watch team.